Good afternoon, everyone. It is with great joy and pleasure I want to introduce you, Dr. Harvinder K. Singh. Sir is from Mushroom Research Laboratory, Department of Plant Pathology, IGKV, Raipur. And the topic chosen for deliberation is forest mushroom, tribal cuisine, and socio-cultural aspects. Sir, you are audible as well as visible, and also your presentation is visible. Please start, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mazid, and a very warm good afternoon to all the participants of this advanced national level training program on mushroom. So, I hope I am audible, right? Okay. So, okay. Thank you. So, let me tell you that today I will be talking about forest mushrooms and what are the tribal cuisines and the socio-cultural aspects that are associated with the forest mushrooms. So I will be specifically dealing with only forest mushrooms. Some of it may be cultivable, some are not cultivable. So I will be looking into the newer insights of the mushrooms which are in the forest. So just as a background, why why mushrooms? I mean, we do have a problem of food security, but then additionally we have to address the issue of nutritional security as well, because these are some photographs which I found on net, and I could see that 1 billion people live in chronic hunger. And if you look at the overall scenario, 2 billion people or 2 billion of our population are lacking in essential vitamins and minerals, and 870 million people get less calories than what is the minimum dietary requirement. So coupled with all these, mushroom can be one way which could lead to the both food security as well as national nutritional security. The other challenges are there is a huge population pressure, the agricultural land is depleting, further there is climate change, and there is shortage of water also. So to address these problems and to maintain the quality of food, we have to no other options but to diversify our agricultural system. So we can, and mushroom is one of the component which can be integrated into almost all the farming systems that are present in our country. And this addresses both food as well as nutritional security. So other than the mushroom, there are other secondary agriculturals which are a way forward and a value addition to the primary agriculture. The one is beekeeping, mushroom cultivation, food processing, vermicomposting, biogas production, azolla cultivation, sericulture, moriculture. And so today we will be dealing with the mushroom cultivation, but specifically what are the forest mushrooms. Uh, if we look at the number of species which are present, number of species of mushroom which are present all over the world, it is approximately around 1.5 million species of mushrooms are present worldwide, and out of which 2000 species are edible. And if we look at the numbers in India, there are around 30,000 species which have been reported, and out of which 300 are edible. And unfortunately, or due to lack of research inputs and people, research workers, only 20 edible mushrooms can be cultivated till date in our country or worldwide. So there is a huge gap, and forests are a treasure mine of mushrooms. So the one which you are seeing is Termitomyces microcarpus. It is a very beautiful fungi, and it is you can see during the first shower, when there is a first shower in the months of June, July, you will see these mushrooms coming out from termite molds. These are mushrooms which are in symbiotic association with termites. So we will see how they come up with. I'm just showing you the photograph. So the basic ecology of this forest mushroom is that there is a queen, termite queen, which is residing just at the bottom of the termite mold. The workers bring in the food material for the queen, and once they feed it, the workers feed on that material also, and when they excrete, that excreta will act as a source of food material for this fungus to uh, germinate and produce the fruiting body. So you can see how beautiful it looks. The white part is the fungal termite excreta on which fungal spores are germinating. These are some other pictures, and you can see that these species of termites can be found on all types of soil: red soil, laterite soil, forest soils. Forest soils are generally rich in humus. What happens is that when there is a huge rain, lot of green materials are there, lot of green leaves are there. So these leaves are collected by the termite workers, and they feed on that. They provide this feeding material also to the queen, which is residing just below the comb. And once they move from inside to upside down the tunnel of the termitorium mold, what they do is they excrete also. And when they excrete, that acts as a media for the germination of the fungal spores of the Termitomyces microcarpus. This is very small fungus, means very small, generally 1 centimeter to 2 centimeter in length. So you can see how beautiful it looks, and you will find only once or twice during the entire year these mushrooms grow. So then there is another species. Earlier it was Termitomyces microcarpus. They are very small, that's why they are called as Termitomyces microcarpus. Then there are some other species of Termitomyces which are generally larger in size and which has a very stout head. These species are called as Termitomyces hemi. You can see the head of this mushroom is comparatively larger, and when it opens, it has a very longer stipe as compared to that. But the basic ecology remains the same. So there are a lot of myths associated with it also. So generally it is said that once there is a thunderstorm, then only it will appear. But the basic fact is that just before the summers, once there is after the first showers, what it happens is that there is a lot of green material, and that green material activates the activity of workers to feed the queen, because the queen has to be kept alive so that it lays eggs for a longer period of time. So that way the ecology of this particular mushroom works. So basically Termitomyces hemi has 2 species. One, what you will find is that there is the head of it is generally white in color, totally white, and then there is one species which is having a little bit of grayish touch to it, and it is the albino strain of Termitomyces hemi only. So you can look at the fungal comb which you can find here, and then the stipe is emerging out along with the fruiting body. So see, this is another species, the the one species, the earlier which I showed you was completely white in color. This is a species which what you will find is that it is having a grayish tinge to the cap of it. So you can see this is perfectly egg-like, and once it opens, you will see a ring attached to it. There is a presence of annulus attached to it. So this is a mushroom which is having an annulus. Another mushroom which is having annulus and is edible is the most popular one, which you know is the button mushroom. Once the button mushroom opens, you will find a ring on the stipe of it. So similarly, this mushroom also have a stipe attached to it, annulus attached to the stipe once it opens. So once you collect at the forest, you should know how to scale it. Okay, so you should put a scale once you collect it, and there are things associated with it. While you are collecting these mushrooms, make sure that you don't collect all the fruiting bodies from it. Okay, so what will happen if you are excessively collecting the fruiting bodies? You are in a way hampering the biodiversity of that particular forest. Leave some of the fruiting bodies there at the termitorium mold, let it open. Sorry, let it open and let it shed the spores, because unless and until it will shed the spores, you will not find these mushrooms next year. Sorry, if you are going to harvest all the mushrooms, what will happen is that there will be no shedding of spores from those mushrooms, and next year gradually the fruiting body count will decrease. So we should make attempts to aware people who are there in the forest that okay, you this is a source of food for you, but then you have to preserve it. If you have to preserve it and you have to take the benefit of this mushroom for a longer period of time, what you have to do, ensure, is that harvest some of the mushroom and leave some of the mushrooms. Okay, let the mushroom open, let the cap of the mushroom open and let it shed the spores, so that the longevity of that particular mushroom diversity is there for a longer period of time. So these are some of the morphological characterizations which you can do at while collecting from the forest. You should know what is the length of the stipe cap, what is the diameter of the pileus. So just for the scale of it, you can put a scale, or you can put a coin just to scale what is the exact size of the mushroom which you have harvested. So like where you can do it for the comb also. You can see these are the fungal combs and fungal sporodokia emerging from it. So what we do is, once we go to the forest, we collect these edible mushrooms, we collect a lot of information about it from the people who are residing over there. I will tell you what are the informations that we should gather from the persons who are living near the forests. So okay, so this is Termitomyces microcarpus. Then there is another mushroom which is generally found after the first rains, is another ectomycorrhizal mushroom which is in symbiotic association with sal trees. It is Rasula. Different species of Rasula you can find, and they range in a variety of colors ranging from pink, red, yellow, white, and even in gray colors. Again, this is a species of Termitomyces hemi, which is being sold in the market by the tribal people along with other forest produce. And you can see there is a very short, this is another different species, same species having different variation. Here you will see that we will see that the head of it is very small, and it is approximately equal to the diameter of the stipe, and the stipe portion is very long. Basically it is nothing but eurhizous, means rhizoid like structure, and it is hollow in nature. So you can see here also you can see the variations in the size of the head. See, it has a comparatively larger size, larger diameter. Again, this is having a smaller diameter and whitish in color. Again, this is slightly grayish in color. So this is nothing but because there are strains of Termitomyces hemi which are said to have different levels of melanin secretion. So the pigmentation in the reason for the pigmentation is nothing but different variants of Termitomyces hemi have differential ability to produce melanin pigment. So you can see the head of it. Then there are, and you can see how beautifully they are sold in the markets. And in Raipur, in Chhattisgarh, in Jharkhand, in Odisha, and in Northeast, you will find this mushroom at a very higher price. It is being sold at 1500 to 2000 rupees a kg in the rainy season. So there is another species of Termitomyces hemi, which is having a comparatively again a larger head. And these, you can see here that it has a comparatively larger head as compared to the other. So there is huge variations in the Termitomyces hemi, which you will find in the forests. These are the Termitomyces species which are being sold at different places in Chhattisgarh. And this mushroom is not only localized in the forest of Chhattisgarh, but you can find it along the forests of Western Ghats, along the northeastern forests, along the Himalayan region also you can find this mushroom. But basically this is a tropical mushroom, and mostly you will find in the Jharkhand forests, in the Chhattisgarh forests, and in the Western Ghats forests. So it is a huge diversity. But then again, you can see that this level of digging of this mushroom can really hamper our biodiversity. So, and what you can see is that most of the things which are being sold in the market are the unopened fruiting bodies. So generally what will happen, that this severe exploitation of the forest and severe extraction of these mushrooms from the forest soils will definitely lead to some depletion of the biodiversity of this prized mushroom. So we need to have certain programs. We need to have certain certain flagship programs for making aware the people who are residing in the forest to conserve these species, to conserve these mushrooms, so that they can be preserved for a longer period of time. Because if you will see the literature, nobody till date has been able to cultivate this mushroom under artificial conditions. So because nobody has yet simulated the condition of the symbiotic association of the termite queen, termite workers, and then the soil or the microclimate which is prevalent during that period. So you can see the excessive selling of Termitomyces, different species of Termitomyces across the farm. See, this is another mushroom which is called as Volverella volvaceae. This is an edible mushroom and it is cultivated extensively, and Odisha is the largest producer of this mushroom, and that too in open conditions. Okay, so you can see this mushroom growing in bamboo plantations. You can see this mushroom growing in under the shade of a mango tree, mango orchard, under the shade of a banyan tree, and under the shade of coconut plantations. So they have a very refined model of production of this particular mushroom across any cropping pattern or any cropping system. And Odisha, if you will go to Odisha and if you will go to any of the restaurant, you will find this particular mushroom in the menu list of their restaurant. So generally what you will find is that you will find any recipe of button mushroom with that, but you will find the recipes of this mushroom in Odisha exclusively. It is a prized delicacy in Odisha, in different parts of in different districts of Chhattisgarh. It is being sold at a price of rupees 400 to 500 a kg during the summer season, during the summer and the rainy season. So again, it is a very prized mushroom. You can see that it is also collected from different straw heaps and forests also. It has basically two species. One which is Volverella diplegia. It is relatively it has a relatively larger cap, and one another is Wolverella wolvaceae. So these tribals, they collect these mushrooms, they sell it in the market, they collect from the producers, and they also sell it in the market. So again, this is another mushroom which is more similar to tuber. What you see here is that it is called as boda, rugda, or it is nothing but Estriatus hygrometricus, and it is just like potato, small potato. These are being sold in the Bastar, Garyaban forests. They are collected from the Bastar and Garyaban forest. In Jharkhand also you will find this mushroom in plenty, and these are being sold in the market. And what excited us was the use of these containers. They are not sold in kg or something like this. This is called as suli, this particular container, and they sold they have different sizes of this particular suli, and the largest one costs around 2000 suli, means it is around 1 kg or so. So 1 kg of this particular mushroom costs around 2000 rupees a kg. And there are a lot of tribal preparations from this mushroom which I will be sharing with you. Again, this is Amanita vaginata, Amanita luzi, Amanita caesarea. Almost 99% of the species of Amanita are deadly poisonous. But again, you see, there are some Amanita species which are edible also. Okay, so, and these are being sold in the tribal markets. So there are other species like Rasula also. So Rasula is also being sold in the market. So I will show you more specifically. See, these are nothing but Amanita being sold in the market. These are edible Amanita. Then these are edible Rasula species. You can see the variation in color of the Rasula. It is slightly grayish in color, some are pink. So again, this one bowl of this mushroom, it is generally sold at 50 to 60 rupees. And in the local markets of Jagdalpur, Daryaban, you can see these are nothing but Amanita species. You can see it emerges like a ball. Okay, it egg stage, and then you will find different stages of it. Only these two species have been reported to have edible. I mean, some parts somewhere in Jagdalpur, people use this mushroom in their food purposes, but there are certain apprehensions about this particular mushroom also. So my humble request is that if you don't know about any particular mushroom, don't eat it. Okay, because very few mushrooms are there which are edible and which can be cultivated. These all mushrooms which I am showing you, they cannot be cultivated because they are in symbiotic association with root plants of higher. They are generally mycorrhizal, so they are in symbiotic association with roots of higher plants. So however, but these mushrooms are reported to have edibility in certain parts of Jagdalpur, Bastar, and Garyaban. So these are some more pictures of Astriatus hygrometricus. This is called as boda or rugda in market. Again, this is sold at a price of 2000 to 2500 in a season, and this is again a price delicacy. Around 10,000 tons of this particular mushroom is harvested yearly from Chhattisgarh as well as Jharkhand. So you can see how much exploitation of these forest mushrooms are there. So again, this is a forest mushroom again which cannot be cultivated. Okay, because it is in symbiotic association with higher plants, and that simulation of the condition of the symbiosis in an artificial condition is still a research area which need to be worked upon. Some other mushrooms which are collected from the forests and being sold in the market are, again, this is Tricoloma. Some Canthrillus species are there. Again, this is Rasula. This is oyster mushroom, Canthrillus, and Wolverella wolvaceae. So these are other mushrooms which are collected from forests and being sold in the market. We could collect some more mushrooms from the forest, which are having edibility among the uh, uh, tribal people. This is Boletus edulis, and look, vernacularly it is called as jam futu or something like that. Again, this is tricoloma or milky mushroom. There is a confusion regarding whether it is tricoloma or psilocybe. So basically nothing but it is psilocybe, tricoloma or macrocybe. These are three synonymous names which are associated with milky mushrooms. So you can find these mushrooms also. It can be cultured and it can be brought to cultivation also. This is mushroom which is called as lentinus. Again, some people, there is reports that this mushroom is edible among a section of the people, but then it is when it is tender it is edible, but when it matures, what happens, it is having more of fibers, so it is very chewy in nature. So again, these are other mushrooms which are edible. This is nothing but the split gill mushroom or the Schizophyllum. It is being consumed by as a powder by many tribals for different medicinal purposes. These are nothing but Volverella. Volverella again have different variations in the color. One is the albino strain, the other is the slight albino strain. Then there is Lycopodon. Lycopodon, again, when it is very young, it is edible, but when it matures, what happens? There is a puff of spores coming out of it. So then at that time, again, it becomes undesirable to eat. So these are other some mushrooms which are. So this again, this is auricularia. This is Jew's ear mushroom. It is also edible in some edible, and this is nothing but Dacropinax, which is this is not edible. Again, this is Ganoderma. This is as such not edible, but it is used in different medicinal preparations and things like that. This is one species of Agaricus, Agaricus paroboscus, which we had identified from the different forests of Bastar. So these are some other lentinus species which we have collected and identified, characterized at our place. And there are different species of Rasula. You can see this is a slightly pinkish. It is having a slightly pinkish cap. It is slightly white, and again it is having a slightly yellowish tinge to its cap. So there are different variations, and based on the macromorphological characters, we come to a conclusion by delineating to at a genus level. So we have different sessions tomorrow regarding identification of fungi. So most probably there it will be dealt that how you go about characterizing a characterizing a fungus, both morphologically as well as molecularly. So I am not going in detail with that. So again, these are this is nothing but a cauliflower fungi. It is called Sparacis is the name, scientific name of it. Again, these are two different other species of Termitomyces, which is called as Termitomyces auranticus and Termitomyces clypeatus. So Termitomyces is basically a group, is a genus which is having more than 13 to 14 species of it, and all are in symbiotic associations. So we have worked out the species which are present in the Chhattisgarh forest. The Termitomyces cylindricus we have reported, Termitomyces globulus, Termitomyces euryzus, Termitomyces robustus, and Termitomyces striatus. So these are the forest mushrooms which we have identified from forest mushrooms which we have identified from Chhattisgarh. And but however, there are other mushrooms, forest mushrooms, again, which are yet to be cultivated, and they are very prized mushrooms as far as economic is concerned, as far as cuisine is concerned. So most of you might have been knowing the people from the Himalayan region, the people from Jammu, Jammu from Himachal, they might be knowing that this is nothing but Morshella. This is called as Gucci mushrooms, and this is one of the prized delicacies of the Himalayan region, and it is of very high value. Again, this is Cordyceps sinensis. This is nothing but caterpillar fungi, and again it is very costly, and you can find this mushroom growing on caterpillars, growing on insects in the Himalayan region. So the northeastern region, what you will find is that you will find plenty of lentinula being sold in the market. The northeastern region is having lot of lentinula diversity, lot of phylum diversity, and you can see these being sold, collected from the forest and being sold in the market. Sorry. So we did a market survey also, and found that sorry, termitomyces cost around, the price of termitomyces, different species of termitomyces being sold in the market at different places in Chhattisgarh was around 1000. Striatus was around 600 to 800. This is the average price. But once
मेरे को एक मशरूम पे ट्रेनिंग चल रही है आज 21 दिन की ट्रेनिंग
Please mute yourself, everybody else. Sir, continue.
Okay, so Canthrillus is being sold at rupees 300. Again, Volvarella is being sold at rupees 300 to 400 rupees a kg. Striatus hygrometricus, when it arrives in the market, generally it is cost around, the cost at which it is being sold is around rupees 2000. So you can see the range in the prices of the forest mushrooms. So what we have done is we have worked out the ecology as well as cultivation aspects of termitomyces. So, and we have also collected the ethnomedicinal information and tribal gastronomy of wild edible mushrooms. So this is one mushroom which is called as boda, which I have shown you that it is being sold extensively in the market. It is called as sarai futu because sarai is a plant. It is similar to sal trees, and they are in the association. You will find these mushrooms growing near the roots of the salt trees. So they are being dug out by the tribal people, and they are then being sold in the market. It more or less resembles like tuber. So it is like tuber only. So they are washed thoroughly with water and cooked like other vegetables. I will be sharing with you the other. This is nothing but Rasula species. Again, it is used for food for by many tribal people. Locally, it is called as patar, chhati, pan, futu. There are many vernacular names being associated with it. So it is being used by as food. Again, this is nothing but termitomyces species. It is also called as kodri chhati, and this is local name. Again, it is a termitomyces species. It is called as Bade Dhunda and Manya Chhati. So this is, again, there are different local names being associated with it. So once you go for a survey, try to extract all the information associated with it. Okay, try to interact with a lot of people and gather n number of informations for that particular mushroom. So because we do not have an inventory as such for these mushrooms, we do not have a mushroom map for the entire country. Suppose if we have an entire map, entire inventory of the wild mushrooms that are prevalent in the Indian forest, it will be a very good record as far as biodiversity is concerned, as far as taxonomy is concerned. So it will help a lot of people to further extend the research work for different edible mushrooms. Other ethnomedicinal information which we collected from the forests regarding the wild edible mushrooms was that the ethnic information from tribals, especially the Baga and the Maria tribes, revealed the use of different termitomyces hemi. It was called as Raja Futu, which are having bigger heads, normally appearing during Dashera, to treat persons suffering from sickle cell anemia. So these tribal, there are certain practitioners of ethnomedicinal, and we found that the powder of it, the dried powder of Termitomyces hemi was used for to treat persons suffering from sickle cell anemia. The powder of different Termitomyces species was also used to treat measles, viral fever, diarrhea, bleeding, constipation, wound, muscular pain, arthritis, skin disease, cough, cold, and indigestion. The fruiting bodies of Termitomyces microcarpus, which I showed you in the first slide, they are being burnt and inhaled to speed up the occurrence, maturation, and scaling of chickenpox. So to fasten the process, or to fasten the virus infection cycle, these fruiting bodies are burned and inhaled. So in Bastar, fruiting bodies of several Termitomyces species are wrapped along with that ajwain seeds in banana leaves and kept over low flames, and the fumes coming from it help the tribal women post-pregnancy to reduce the pain. Sal boda is used in traditional medicine to treat constipation, but children below 8 years are generally not given boda to eat frequently because it has a lot of fibers, and due to the presence of fibers, so it is generally avoided for the children below 8 years. So these are some of the informations which we collected. Again, the tribal food preparation of boda rice, that potato like mushroom which you saw, is a signature recipe of Bastar. Sal boda, also known as futka or rugda, are cleaned thoroughly to remove the adhered soil particles with water. They are cut into two halves. If the center portion is white, it is used as such, but if the center portion, which is called scientifically as gleba, is black, then that portion is removed and then prepared. However, if the center portion is yellow, then the entire fruiting body is not used in any of the edible preparations. So the fruiting bodies of boda are boiled in water with little salt and lemon juice. Then they are fried along with raw spices and cooked in coconut milk to prepare the boda rice recipe. So this is a signature recipe which we have collected from Bastar tribes. And most of the tribal food preparations generally are prepared in earthen utensils. They are cooked just like chicken or meat, but the only difference is that they are cooked in the mushroom broth itself. So the mushroom broth, or the water that comes out during initial cooking, is separated, and mushrooms are fried a little along with spices, onion, chili, garlic, and curry leaves. Once fried or sauteed, the mushroom broth is added slowly, and the entire preparation is cooked in that only. So these are some of the preparations which we recorded during our different surveys. Amanita lucy and Amanita vaginata are boiled for a few minutes before cooking because it was believed that they contain certain alkaloids which get destroyed once you boil it. They are never cooked in the mushroom broth arising from it. Earlier, what we saw is that the broth was being used for cooking the other mushrooms, but here the broth was not used for cooking the Amanita lucy and Amanita vaginata. Then there are tribes which dry the Termitomyces and Rassula species. They sun dry it and keep it for further use. Even other vegetables are also dried and kept for future use. Fresh Termitomyces and Rassula species are used in different rasam preparations in Bastars. These rasam preparations are garnished with fried cumin and Termitomyces microcarpus. Partially fried Termitomyces microcarpus and red ants paste. Generally, the red ants which are present on the mango plants, they are collected by the tribals. Along with that, partially fried Termitomyces microcarpus, they are being used as chutney in Bastar tribal recipes. So Termitomyces are also cooked along with drumsticks, pumpkin leaves. Again, this is another signature combination of vegetable recipes during the monsoons among the tribals. So these are some of the local vernacular names which we have collected for all the different mushrooms, which are very common in the folk taxonomy, or you can say the tribal taxonomy, because nobody in the forest will be associated with Amanita vaginata, Termitomyces hemi. What you will get to know is that the local vernacular name which they associate from that particular area. So it varies from place to place, but however, we have tried to collect it, and I will share it with all of you. Again, we record the morphological characterization. I hope I will skip these slides because I think it will be dealt in detail tomorrow by Professor N.S. Attri and Dr. P.N. Shivlingam. So basically what we do is that we also collect the ethnomycological information. We collect all the macromorphological or the passport data. You have to generate a passport data for a particular mushroom. You have to record the GPS data of that particular, from where you have collected, because that will act as a information for other persons also. So we do all the possible morphological characterization. You can go for molecular characterization also. You can go for ITS sequencing and identification. But then we do not have enough number of sequences in NCBI for forest mushrooms. Okay, so you have to have a very good and sound background of macromorphological characterization of forest mushrooms. So these we have done, and once I will share you can go through what are the characters, or after the presentation I will share you one key, how you can identify macromorphological keys, how you can identify a particular mushroom and get to at least genus level. So these we have characterized about the different Termitomyces species also. So what we were interested in was the ecology of Termitomyces mushroom. So we worked extensively on that, but with we didn't had any of the success. But I will be very happy to share you some of the work which we have initiated, some of the things which we have done in Termitomyces. This is a pictorial representation of Termitomyces associated with the fungal comb. So this is called as the perforatum. This is the pileus. This is the annulus once the head opens, and this is the scars while emerging, because it has to emerge through a termite mold. So there are a lot of scars once it emerge. This is the long stipe, which is called as nothing but pseudorhiza, and this is the epigeal part, means the above ground part or the above termitorium part, and this is the basal attachment, and this is the basal disc, and this is the entire termite mold. So these are some of the things which we associated with the termite molds. And you can see there are young primordium, young underground primordium which emerge from the termite molds, which then further gets into a floating body. And this is the entire fungal comb, Sporodome. So how this Termitomyces species establish? This is the mature Termitomyces fruiting body which you generally observe in a forest. So a lot of spores, once the thing opens, lot of spores get discharged and they are shed on the soil, which are soil of the termite molds, and along the forest floors these spores will get dispersed, and these spores are taken to termitorium by termite elites and termite workers of the Macrotermitinae family, subfamily. So you can see these are the these are the termite workers and the elites, which these spores are brought to the termite cones, and this is the termitorium where it grows, and again the fungus comb bearing Sporodokia will emerge, and from that Sporodokia we will find in the primordial stage of Termitomyces coming out, and then you will see a young Termitomyces fruiting body. So these termite workers, they bring on the spores, they bring on the feeding material into the queen, and once they excrete, the fungal spores come out of these the fungal spores come out in the excreta of the termite workers, and the excreta act as a media for the germination of the Termitomyces spores. So you can see the fungus comb, it starts with the Sporodokia, again it enlarges into the primordial stage, and you will see the young fruiting body. And again these young fruiting body, when they mature, what will happen? They will open up and they will shed the spores. So this is the cycle which goes on. And nobody till date has simulated this condition in artificially in a lab or in a uh, in vivo condition. So what we did is we tried to develop a cultivation protocol for this Termitomyces species. So what we did is that from a fertile termitorium means the Termitomyces should be associated with that particular fungus. You need to geofence it, you need to have GPS location of the fertile termitorium, you need to keep a record over a period of years, not only a single year. You need to have a record of at least 10 years of a particular location of a particular termite mold from where it is emerging. So from that fertile termitorium, what we have isolated the fruiting body, we have took out the comb also, but we didn't harm the queen. Generally, the queen might be at the base of the termitorium, or it may reside somewhere far from the termitorium. Because the workers generally what they travel inside the termite mold through tunnels. You can see these are the tunnels through which these termite workers. So from this termite mold, what we could have the fungus comb. We brought the fungus comb which we are bearing Sporodokia. So and then we gave a certain media, and we sprayed a certain nutrient media on that termitorium comb, so that we could get certain mycelial growth from that fungal comb. And then we from that Sporodokia we have cultured on different media also. We could find a particular media from where we could culture this particular. This is a very slow growing culture. The culture which you are seeing here is of approximately 45 to 50 days. This is a 45 to 50 day cultures. Generally the culture will restrict at this, and then you will find a lot of contaminations coming from it. But we have cultured from the Sporodokia also, we have cultured from the fruiting body also. So then we prepared spawn on different grains. So basically we use the millet grains for the preparation of this particular spawn. Then on Peltophorum leaves we could find spawn run also, but then after that we could not get the primordial initiation. While preparing this bag, what we did is that we could collect the termite workers also. We put it here. We put the termitorium soil in it. Then we added different combinations of Peltophorum leaves, but then we could not find any success. However, we are in a process to refine this particular thing, and we will be coming up. We do have certain leads in that, so we are hopeful of coming out of it in a for the cultivation protocol of this particular species. Then, so these were basically the forest mushrooms. But then again, these forest mushrooms are also the starting point of newer strains for the mushrooms which are cultivated at a which are very popular mushrooms cultivated across India or across the world, because you do not get fungal cultures lying roadside or something like that. You will have to venture the forest, you will have to look for the habitats to get the pure cultures, to identify the cultures of cultivable mushroom also. So these are the generally cultivable mushroom species which are found in India. You will find most probably button, milky, oyster, and paddy straw mushroom. These four mushrooms generally comprise the 99% of the total mushroom production. Now Lenthinula is coming up. This shiitake mushroom. Again, shiitake mushroom is one mushroom which could be grown on woodlots. Again, this is a long method, but then there are short methods of shiitake mushroom cultivation, and I hope there are certain lectures associated with shiitake mushroom also. So again, the choice of mushroom species are variable. You can grow any mushrooms from a range of 16 to 18 degree to a range of 30 to 38 degrees Celsius. So ultimately, to grow these mushrooms, to have a cultivation protocol of it, you need to have a pure culture. You need to have a identified strain. So all starts from the forest itself. You have to collect it, you have to go through the pain of characterizing it, you have to go through the pain of developing a cultivation protocol of it, and then you have to go further pain to popularize this technology to the extension workers as well as the farmers and different stakeholders. So there are many farmers also who collect, and they generally at IGKV what we do is that we collect and we the strains, and we generally give it to the farmers. The whatever the culturable oyster mushroom species which we collect from different forests, we generally collect it. We go for on-farm mushroom trials at different locations across Chhattisgarh at farmer fields. So if they get the harvest, you can see these are nothing but the strains which we collected from in different forests. We gave it to the people who are cultivating it, and they could come up with very good cultivations. You can see the popularity of oyster mushroom, which species which we collected, and we have went for genetic improvement of that, and then we have given it to the farmers. So again, this is the picture which we got from the KVKs of Korea, and you can see the harvest of these are the tribal people. They harvest these mushrooms and then they prepare different preparations. I will show you. This is a picture which was shared to me by KVK Korba, and generally these are the cultivation production system of paddy straw mushroom. Generally, they do not depend on any spawn laboratory or any ICR institute or any IGKV. They are themselves scientists. They collect different strains of mushrooms from paddy heaps. They will go for the preparation of the spawn themselves, and then they will go into the production level. So they are not dependent on the improved strains of any agricultural institute or ICR institutes as such. They are themselves innovators, they are themselves scientists, and they can come up with cultivation protocols which we are still unable to achieve at our places. So we have a lesson to learn from them also. Again, this is again tribal farmer from Kanke district, and you can see he has collected different strains of milky mushroom and he has cultivated at his own place. So there is no dearth of knowledge, there is no foundation that any agricultural graduate or a scientific worker can go for the cultivation technology or collection characterization. There are farmers who themselves are so trained, so aware that they can cultivate it at their own level. There are I really know that the cultivation protocol is being standardized at a different level, but then collection and identification of an edible strain, making a spawn by themselves, and then doing the cultivation, it is a hugely commendable thing for the farmers. You can see these are the farmers which they collect the paddy straw. We do not get paddy straw strains like this while cultivating. Farmers, they collect these type of strains. You can see the enormous, huge size of the style. They go for what we do is that we collect these strains from them. We go for the cultural characterization. We do the spawn preparation, and we give it back to them so that they can cultivate at their own level. So this is a channel by which we generally go by from forest to the field. Okay. So you can see different on-farm trials of the different strains which we have collected at different places. Then they go for further characterization and something like that. You can see the tribal preparations. Across Chhattisgarh, this oyster mushroom production is a huge success, and they are being dried, and they are at different KVKs, KVK Raipur, KVK Korea, they are producing mushroom powder, and they are being sold, and they are being supported by the tribal ministry to market these products. So with this, I end my slide. I hope I am on time, and I would like to have a very warm discussion. And if you have any questions regarding forest mushrooms, this is just a glimpse of the forest mushrooms work which we are doing at IGKV Raipur. But then over the period of another 18 days, you will find a lot of insights from different mushrooms. So thank you very much for a patient hearing. And I thank NADCL also for giving me this opportunity to speak. So once again, thank you everyone for having a patient hearing. So Majid, it's up to you to coordinate.
Hello, sir.
Any
Okay.
question, please ask.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Suppose I am a poor person and I don't have any fridge or any cool chamber. Okay, so sir, myself of mushroom is nearly 80 to 90%. So sir, my question is, how to increase shelf life of mushroom?
Can
How to
only one
increase?
person speak? Rest people, can they mute their microphone? If Pradeep is asking, Ashok ji, please mute. Or Ashok ji, if you're asking, Pradeep ji, mute. One by one, please. Pradeep
Okay.
ji, please ask.
Yeah, one by
Okay,
one,
sir.
if you can speak.
Okay, okay, sir. Sir, how to increase shelf life of mushroom?
Okay.
If I don't have any fridge or any cool chamber, so
Okay.
what should I do? Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay, I get the question. Generally, the answer for this is that there is a huge gap regarding processing of mushrooms. The only way you can go for the longevity button mushrooms, there are possibility of canning. The canning industry is very much popular. So button mushroom can easily be canned, and the shelf life can be increased up to 6 months. Okay. Oyster mushroom, again, it can be dried. Uh, there are ways in which it can be dried in its most natural form, and it can be used for another 6 months. The dried mushroom powder can again be used for different preparations. It can be used to make cookies and different processed products. So that line of work, again, we have to think of. But then there is a huge gap regarding research studies in paddy straw mushroom preservation, and because it generally gets deteriorated after a period of 8 to 10 hours. But then it is being sold fresh. The price value associated with it is very high. So the risk is minimized by the price. Again, people are working on it. Bark has come up with certain technologies of irradiation to increase the shelf life of it. They are also in a process of patenting a sporeless mutant of different tropical mushrooms. So people are coming up with newer technologies, and hopefully we will see that there is a lot of encouragement regarding the processing and the preserving part of the mushrooms. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Okay, sir.
Excuse me, sir. HK, can I supplement?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely, sir. Definitely.
May I know who was asking the question? What's his good
Sir,
name?
Sir Ashok Kumar Kosaria, PhD
Ashok
scholar from
Kosaria ji.
Lab.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Kosaria ji, have you heard about zero energy cool chamber?
Yes, sir.
Zero energy cool chamber is widely popularized by the Department of Horticulture, State Department of Horticulture, where the temperature is generally varying from 15 to 22 degrees centigrade. Normally what happens, all around the wall, they generally keep the sands, and in between sand, they flow the water. So that way, normally the zero energy cool chamber, if you keep the mushroom in zero energy cool chamber or in ice box, that way you can enhance the shelf life to some extent. Not to see mushroom, you know very well that it has 90% moisture. Even 92 or 93% moisture is also there in some of the mushroom. So this is the weakness of the mushroom, you can say. Due to very high moisture content, it is difficult to enhance the shelf life.
Okay, okay.
So these are some of the ways as suggested by Dr. H.K. Singh. We are also trying hard to send some of our students to Bhabha Atomic Research Center so that mushroom can be irradiated, and even irradiated mushroom, fresh mushroom as well as dry mushroom shelf life can be enhanced. But we are trying for enhancement of the shelf life of the dehydrated mushroom, not the fresh mushroom, because fresh mushroom, it is really difficult. because
Okay.
even if it is found a good solution, then you see everywhere you cannot install those gamma rays irradiation chamber, and it will be difficult for all of us to enhance the shelf life using these. But definitely the dehydrated mushroom whose life is for more than say 3 or 4 months. There you can further enhance the life to maybe 1 year or even more than that. So I
Okay, sir.
think, are you convinced? Are you convinced?
Yes,
Or
yes, sir.
you
Yes, sir.
still have some problem?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I done, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Sir, myself Sunit Talukdar from Guwahati, Assam.
Okay. Okay.
Sir, I first like to thank you for this wonderful presentation. It was
Okay.
really an enlightenment lecture.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So I hope you gained some insights from it, right?
Sir, lots of. Uh, and so first, I want to know,
Yeah.
this thermocommitis.
Uh,
Sir, am I
I'm-
audible?
yeah. You are edible now.
Uh, so this thermotomyces mushroom,
Yeah.
so it like I mean, it does it grow in all sort of termites, or there are some like specific termites?
No, no, no. Basically, there are few species of termitomyces, cyanotermitomyces. Some termite species are there. So there are few species of termites which are generally associated with termite molds. But then you have to have a fertile comb for it. Fertile comb means there should be a queen below the termite comb, and the workers should be regularly feeding that queen so that it could lay eggs and new workers emerge out of it. So if that chain is being broken, once the queen dies, the termitorium is dead. It becomes infertile, and you will find no termitomyces on that particular mold. So you can see, because what we have observed over a period of 10 years is that we could see the termitomyces fruiting bodies for a period of 2 to 3 years, 4 years maximum. But then after certain period of time, due to deforestation or some construction activity, that termite molds got disturbed, and we could not find any fruiting body. But then for a period of 3 to 4 years, you can see termitomyces on that same termite molds also. So there are a lot of entomologists who are working to characterize what are the different species associated with it. I have the list of it, but then I will be sharing it with you. Right now, I am not remembering what are the species associated, termite species which are associated with termitomyces. But then, yes, there are certain species associated with it. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I have just hello.
Yeah.
So I have two more queries. One will be directly. I mean, it will be a question to Sir Mahesh Prasad Thakur, sir. Just now he mentioned about this zero cooling. Uh, so I mean, I just want to know, can we use that zero cooling process for even for fruiting purpose? Because
Yeah, yeah. You can very well use it. You see, it depends on the kind of mushroom you want to grow. If you are going button mushroom, then zero energy cool chamber where the temperature, say if it is ranging between 15 to 22 degrees centigrade, you can very well grow button mushroom inside it. But
okay.
as far as say subtropical mushroom is concerned, say for example oyster mushroom, in oyster mushroom I tell you a lot of diversity is there. There are more than 25 species which are cultivated commercially at the global level. So if some, say for example, it's Plotus columbinus, it has been my experience that if you grow Plotus columbinus inside this zero energy cool chamber, it fruits very well because it requires very low temperature for
Okay.
fruiting especially. Spontan may be there, but for fruiting it requires very low temperature. So there are mushrooms which are of temperate nature, which are of temperate requirement. You can grow them very well.
Okay. So can he use it this type of facility for fruiting shiitake?
fruiting shiitake requires say 16 to 18 degrees centigrade temperature. So you have, if you are if inside the zero energy cool chamber, if the temperature is in the range of say 17, 18 or 19, 20, even up to 20 degrees centigrade, there is no problem. You can go even shiitake also.
Okay.
But you have to make sure that how much is the temperature ranging inside the zero energy cool chamber. Normally what happens if the ambient temperature, say for example outside temperature and inside temperature, normally there is a difference of 12 to 15 degrees centigrade. 12 to 15 degrees centigrade temperature can be brought down in zero energy cool chamber from the outer environment. Yeah. So that way you have to see that how much is the temperature prevailing. Did you get my point?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got it. Sir, thanks.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Myself, Dr. Pramila, working as senior scientist and mushroom cultivation, sir. I'm
Yeah.
from PJTSAU.
Yeah.
Very nice informative session, sir. Thank you very much for giving us a knowledge on the for wild mushrooms. And
Okay,
here
thank
I have small queries, sir.
Yeah.
You have searched all the wild varieties. Regarding
Yeah.
Paris straw mushroom,
Yeah.
we have only 2 species.
Yeah.
So actually, what is the shelf life period of this mushroom, sir?
Actually, there are 3 species which we have encountered. One is Volverella bombyciana. Generally, it is having a white color in nature. Another is Volverella volvaceae, and the third one is Volverella diplesia. Diplesia is generally having a larger cap. So the shelf life of it is generally 6 to 8 hours mostly.
Sir, voice is not clear, sir. There's
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
some disturbance.
I think there are certain mics which are on.
Yes, sir.
So
Sai Sahab is there. Sai Sahab, are you listening me? Or Dr. Majid?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you ask the participants to mute their mic so that
I
the
have
question and answer?
to mute the microphone. That's why there is an echo.
uh, excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Mute your mic. Can you answer it? Unmute yourself.
Sir.
Pramila, ma'am. Yeah. Now let me answer your question. Generally, what is happening is that we have encountered 3 Volverella species. One is Volverella volvaceae, which we found extensively across all districts. And you can find exclusively, means that is a signature mushroom of Odisha also. Then there is one Volverella bombyciana. Volverella bombyciana is generally a subtropical kind of, means it can be grown at a lower temperature, and it has a slightly whiter color of it. The egg will be of white color, but then again its shelf life is comparatively less again than the Volverella volvaceae strains. Overall, the Volverella volvaceae species have a shelf life of 6 to 8 hours mostly, because they are harvested and being sold directly to the consumers. Most of what I have seen in Odisha is that most of the people will come to the grower itself, and once they ask that, okay, they require 10 kg or 15 kg, at that time only it will be harvested and given it to them. So in that way, it is being worked out. And one more model of this marketing of this mushroom, which is having a lower shelf life, is that what I have seen is that from Odisha, lot of mushroom paddy straw growers, they will harvest the mushrooms very early in the morning, and they will bring it to different adjoining districts of Chhattisgarh through train, and by 6 or 7 o'clock they will sell everything and they will just go off. So they have worked out models for this particular constraint, because this is having a huge price bracket associated with this mushroom. So in that way they are doing. But then there are some people who earlier worked on the preservation or increasing the shelf life of paddy straw mushroom, but then it's still
Here I have one note, sir. The sporocarp, when it is at a immature stage, we have to harvest this paddy straw mushrooms. When we see most of the markets, they are containing the paddy straw mushrooms with opened sporocarp. That means it is in sporulating condition.
Yeah.
So it is beneficial or it is suitable for taking consuming.
Okay, let me answer this. Uh, in most part of Chhattisgarh, there are a certain section of people who have a taste of the egg stage of this particular mushroom. Generally, the egg stage will have a comparatively larger shelf life, but once it opens up, the shelf life is drastically reduced. But then there are there are a lot of consumers of paddy straw mushroom which want paddy straw mushroom in open condition. So the growers, what they are doing is that they are keeping both. They will keep the egg stage also, and they will keep the open stage also, because in Odisha you will find egg stage also being sold. In Chhattisgarh also you will find the egg stage being sold, but then there is generally a larger percentage of people who like the opened one. So again, this is a kind of consumer preference which is being tapped up by the producers. So yes, but definitely your suggestion, your observation is right, that the egg stage will have a comparatively larger shelf life, but once it opens up, it loses the spores. There are chances of bacterial contamination also, and there are chances that it could be spoiled within few hours. So, but then again, it is very costly to make them.
Yes, yes, sir.
That
That's why,
is
because
taken care of.
if we want to promote, no need of going to search for new varieties. These four varieties are sufficient for commercialization because of lack of awareness and shelf life disadvantages.
In terms of Valverena,
Shelf life is the important drawback, na, sir.
yeah,
We want to promote this paddy straw mushroom in spite of its costly uh, uh, profit.
yeah, but then I feel that Odisha is a perfect example of it. They are producing around 13,000 tons of paddy straw mushroom on an annual basis, or that too in a particular season. If Odisha can do it, I don't know why other tropical states cannot do that.
Yes,
Generally,
sir, because yes, practically we did, but when we see the yield is very, very less,
yield is definitely less.
very less.
20% biological efficiency is there. So,
Okay, yes, sir. Okay, sir, thank you for my.
okay, ma'am.
Namaskar, sir. I am Satyajit.
Ji.
Namaskar, sir. I am Satyajit Mahapatra from Jharkhand.
Okay.
I have few queries.
Right.
And the first one is, do you have any comparative study of the edible mushrooms being cultivated and being collected from the forest?
Yeah. We have collected. Your next question, I will answer.
Okay. And next question is, could the Calocybe gingitia is cultivated, means spawn of that has been prepared so far? Or it is still naturally grown?
Calocybe.
Calocybe.
Yeah, we have collected lot of
gingitia.
Calocybe indica. Lot of people have collected lot of strains of Calocybe indica.
Sorry, sir. Not indica nuts. Calocybe gingitia.
Gingitia. Gigantia.
Yeah. That big Calocybe varieties, sir.
Okay. That has also been cultured by lot of lot of persons, and but that level of fruiting we have not yet achieved, because I think that is an accumulation of spores for a longer period of time. That particular habitat suits it, because mostly you will find it in the Western Ghats. the calocybe, the bigger one, the giganteum. But then we have different macrocybe species, different calocybe indica, gambosa species. A lot of persons have collected. We have collected around 50 to 60 strains from different locations. We have evaluated it at multi locations. So there is a lot of information about that. And regarding other edible mushrooms, yes, we have collected different species of oyster mushroom also, and we have cultured it, we have cultivated it, we have given it to the farmers. Paddy straw mushroom, we go for regular exploration. We yearly culture, means collect it, cultivate it, and then because it has with paddy straw, it is that the viability of the cultures get reduced every year. So we have to naturally collect mushrooms every year. Then we have to go for the entire pain of preparing the pure culture and then the spawn and then giving it to the farmers. So yes, we have collected we have collected Lentinula species from Northeast. We have collected Lentinus, Ganoderma species. Again, it is being, we get a lot of those mushrooms in the forest. We have collected Heratium species from different places and we have cultivated it. Schizophyllum, we have cultivated it. Termitomyces, we are in the process of it. So a lot of mushrooms are getting explored regarding cultivation aspects. Okay, thank you.
Any other question?
So, actually, my question was that which you collect from the forest and make culture and spawns of that. And after that, is it when it is cultivated in the indoor process? What are the basic differences that you observe in them?
No, generally they are, as far as nutritional content is concerned, we generally find no differences when we collected it from wild, and we have a comparative analysis of the wild mushroom, and then we have cultivated it, and we find that there are hardly any differences in that. But then, since we are working in mushrooms, we generally go for refinement of the cultivation technology so that we could maximize the yield of that particular mushroom. The first step is identification. Once you have correctly identified that, okay, this is Pleurotus austriatus or Pleurotus flabellatus or any XYZ mushroom, then you look for the production aspect. Then once you get the fruiting body, then you work on the maximization of the fruiting potential of that particular mushroom. Okay, so then once you have achieved a satisfactory biological efficiency of that, then you can go for upscaling of that particular technology. Okay.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I am Dr. Hira from Kerala Agriculture University.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Good evening, Dr. Harvinder. I just wanted to know that as you told about various aspects of Termitomyces, I would like to cultivate it.
Yeah.
Can you help me?
You would like to
cultivate it till at least up to the culture level. So if we get this Sporodokia, and you have already told that you have sprayed some nutrient media over that, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
What was that? Can you reveal? Yes.
Definitely, I will reveal it, ma'am. And we are in a process of filing a patent regarding that. So within few months, it will be in the public domain. It is a totally.
Then
it will be
coming to the.
There will be no cost associated with it, but we are in a process of filing a patent. Let's see if we could get it, then we will share it with all of you.
Okay, and also after this obtaining the Sporodokia, this Sporodokia was actually cultured into a normal PDM media, or it is an exclusive media for this Termitomyces?
We have tweaked the media also, ma'am, with certain carbon sources and nitrogen sources.
Oh, so it is not our common media. So you have enriched it, isn't it?
Yes, we have enriched it, and we have certain metabolites added to it also. So we will share it. We will share it definitely in the coming Agrip workshop. We will be sharing it to everybody.
Okay, definitely. And I was very happy to see that I tried to isolate the Termitomyces several times. But the thing is, we didn't get the culture. So
we have
normally I understood that it took about 55 days for growth, at least 4 or 5 centimeters growth in the petri dish. If it
Yeah.
takes so much time,
Yeah, generally the 4 to 5 centimeter only we could get the growth, that too in 45 to 50 days.
45 to 50 days. Then and among the millet grains, which was the grain which was widely used?
We
Is
use
it
the
paddy?
Kodo grains is there, barnyard millet.
Barnyard millet.
Barnyard millet. They made
Oh, it's not easily available in Kerala. We can go either with paddy or ragi. Whether it will come up in ragi?
Yeah, it will come in. It will come up in ragi also. It will come up in ragi also. So we have Dr. MP Thakur here also. So he has
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. Good evening, sir. I am
Yes.
Dr.
Good evening.
Hira.
How is Dr. Lulu Das?
She
Madam
has
Hira.
retired, sir. Sir,
She is
she
retired.
has retired, and I have taken charge over ACRP on mushrooms at Pellini.
You have replaced her. You have replaced
No.
her.
Yeah. She has retired, sir.
Okay. So I think cultivating termitomyces is a big
sir.
challenge before all of us,
Yeah, it's a
before
big
all
challenge.
the mushroommologists. And some efforts has been done by Dr. H.K. Singh. I think we should appreciate him.
Yeah, I was very happy to hear that.
Explore the possibility. Yes, definitely. Now, madam, may I ask all the participants that things are moving well, or do you want some kind of improvement or some suggestion, some feedback I would like to have from your side so that we can improve upon? If things are moving well, I have no problem. If you want
Sir,
any
I have
kinds
one
of
suggestion.
improvement,
I have one suggestion.
Yeah,
Can you
definitely.
put up the link for all the days as a single link? It's not possible, so that every now and then we could need not check all these things.
I think the answer is with Dr. Majid and Dr. RSI. I will request both of them to kindly interact with your question. I think they will
Ma'am,
respond you.
it would be it is since we have created meetings initially, and it is created the link is generated automatically for every meeting, so it is
Oh,
generated.
it is separate, sir. It is
Yeah.
separate. Oh,
Yeah.
otherwise, when we used to take the class, we will put up the link for the whole day, or if we conduct training, we will put up the link for the whole day, so that we can. There is no chances of missing. That's why.
No, I just post the link. What we can do is we do it two way. One way is we share the link on the WhatsApp group, and also what we do is we have a list of participant emails. We directly mail the link to participants so that they don't miss. And plus, when the link is mailed to them, nobody needs to accept that. They can directly join without somebody.
I have seen that, sir. But yesterday there was a confusion regarding this, and yesterday I have entered and nobody was there in that. So I thought, what happened? Then again I checked WhatsApp.
There will be a separate link per session. Every session there will
for
be a
each section
separate.
there will be a separate link. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
and it will be given prior to the session so that people should join in good time.
Okay,
Madam,
sir.
what about the content of the tag? Is it good? What about the content of the tag you are getting? Is it okay?
Pardon, sir, I couldn't hear you.
Content of the tag?
It's good, sir.
It's good.
Yeah.
Or the matter or the content given by you say whatever we feel, whatever we felt, we have designed the program in that way. But I would again request all the participants, if you want some kind of addition or maybe deletion, I would say both way, then that can be incorporated. If you think that
Sir,
you
the
need
only
some more
problem
focus
with me
on
is, or the only problem from my side is, yesterday it was more of Hindi rather than English. For the South people, the Hindi, it's a bit difficult to understand. We can understand, but we cannot respond to the limit in which we can understand.
Ma'am, there are also participants who want at times the lecture to be in Hindi, not in English. There are some people which are more of a Hindi background. They want questions.
Yeah, sir.
So
Madam,
we have
to blend both of them. We have to make blending of both English and Hindi.
Yeah, definitely. So that is not a problem. But
English.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Harvinder, anyway, congrats for doing so much work over that. And as part of ACRP, help us to also cultivate Termitomyces, because I have tried it, but the culture didn't come up. That's the problem.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And the culture has been deposited in DMR, so I will be
Okay.
sharing the accession number. So
Yeah.
we can have.
So, madam, are you sharing, Madam Hira, are you sharing the virtual recipes of all the mushroom prepared by Dr. Lulu Das?
Right
Share
now,
it to all the, share it virtually to all the participants.
the
Because she
recipes,
has
it is in
written a
Malayalam,
voluminous
sir.
book.
It is in our local language. It is in our local language. I will
is not
try
in
to
English?
give. No, it's not in English. It is in Malayalam. So I will
Oh,
try to send, try to make up some recipes in English, and I will send to you.
Then you will have
Definitely.
to make people to speak in Malayalam also.
Yes, sir, definitely. If we speak Malayalam, others won't understand. That's the problem. Otherwise, we could have done that.
Okay.
Chaliye, Congress, Dr. Harvinder.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Okay.
Dr. Arvinder, on part of the participants as well as organizing committee. Thank you. Thanks a lot for this lovely presentation and beautiful interaction at the end. Thank you, sir. We
Sir,
can
I have
all
just one query.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, I mean, whatever Harvinder sir has shown us, like from while he has collected lots of mushroom and he has made culture out of that. So, like, if we want to procure, is it possible to get the culture?
Yeah, definitely. We are selling the cultures of edible mushrooms at a price of ₹1,000. In ₹1,000, you will get 2 culture tubes of pure culture of any edible mushrooms which we have cultured till date. So we will be generally giving the best yielder of a particular edible strain, and it is at a price of ₹1,000. You will get a 2 culture tubes. If you want spawn, mother spawn, you can get it at ₹500. And the commercial spawn of edible mushrooms, it is being sold at a price of ₹120 a kg. So that is the you can just mail me the requirement, and we will see how we can do it.
So can you share your links, your contact and?
Yeah, definitely. I will be sharing to all of you. Okay. I will in the presentation. I will ask Majid to please share the details of all the I think all the guests and all the presenters and all the experts.
I have
to all
shared
the
your emails
participants.
already. I've shared your email in the chat. They can copy and they can.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all for being here. Let's join back tomorrow at 11.
Okay.
Hello, Majid sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, when will the video available on YouTube?
Unfortunately, there has been some occupation on my part due to some unfortunate event which has happened. I'll be uploading in coming days. All the videos will be uploaded and the links will be shared here, also in the WhatsApp groups of the videos. And if the resource person has shared the PPT with us, I'll make it part of the YouTube video also. If possible, I'm asking every resource person to revert back to the email they got with the PPT, so that PPT can be used in all the YouTube videos. Like for example, Harvinder sir has used his PPT. He can revert back with the revert back to the email which was having the invitation with the PPT, and I'll make it part of as a PDF. I'll be making it part of the YouTube video.
Definitely, I will share.
Thank you, sir.
Photo.
There is no challenge in sharing that.
एक मिनट में
I'll be
इनसे
sharing
पूछता
the
हूँ ये कि कहीं
content of the
notification
main
जरूर
topic one by
हाँ, एक
one
मिनट
on the
पूछता हूँ
YouTube channel.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. everyone.
Shai Sahab, just a minute. Shai Sahab,
Yeah, police sir.
may I have some clippings of yesterday's inaugural function? Can you share it with me?
Right now, I need to download them. I'll share it tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be able to say.
No, I need today because it is going to the newspaper, na?
Okay,
Please
let
help
me
me.
Let me try.
Yeah, please try and please share those clippings
Sure,
so that
sure,
it can be sent to the newspaper. Okay.
Okay.
So at what time may I get it?
I'll send it on WhatsApp. That would be feasible.
By WhatsApp?
Yeah, that will be in the evening, late evening.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.